live Jungkook that changes everything, from glitter stage to dark honesty. That night, there were no spotlights. There is no grand stage, no background music or perfect choreography. Just a young man sitting alone, wearing a dark hoodie with makeshift lighting from his hotel room in America. But the seemingly simple live broadcast turned out to be the most emotional moment in BTS history and perhaps in Jungkook's own life when his fingers touched the screen to start Weverse Live. No one expected that he would bring millions of ARMY into the deepest side of his heart, the side that has been hidden behind the laughter and the spotlight of the world. Not just a light interaction, the evening was an open confession. A shocking honesty. His voice sounded quiet as he began to speak. I don't know where to start, but tonight, I just want to talk. Not as BTS's Jungkook, but as me. He sat down for a moment, breathing heavily. On the screen, comments come in thousands per second. But he didn't read one. It was as if, this time, the world was only about him and the wounds he wanted to release, sometimes. I feel like it's all too quiet. All the glitter on the stage was beautiful, but when it came down, there was no one. That statement instantly froze thousands of hearts. ARMY, accustomed to seeing Jungkook as strong and cheerful, is now witnessing someone so human, fragile, yet incredibly brave for choosing to be honest. His eyes began to glaze over. I often say I'm fine when I'm not. I smile a lot so you don't worry, but it's hard sometimes. A few minutes later, Jungkook's voice is heard shaking as he says that he has been having a hard time lately, losing direction, and feeling tired of having to continue to be the perfect version of himself. He even admitted that he had considered taking a break, not from music, but from everything. I used to sit alone and think, if I wasn't BTS's Jungkook, who would care about me? It was a heartbreaking sentence. And thousands of comments instantly flooded the screen. We love you even when you're not shining. You don't always have to be perfect, Jungkooka. You're human, and that's enough. But despite all the sadness, that night was also a turning point. After almost an hour of opening up and crying quietly in front of millions of eyes, Jungkook lifted his face and looked straight into the camera. This time, there was a different firmness in his eyes. I don't want to give up. I just want you to know that I need time too. I'm gonna keep singing, keep making music, but this time, I want to be honest. I want to be me. Then, for the first time that night, he smiled. Not a smile to please anyone, but a little smile born of the courage to be honest. The live broadcast lasted almost 2 hours. There are no song teasers, no big announcements, but the effect is much deeper than all that. Media around the world highlighted Jungkook's bravery. Psychologists and mental health activists have called her move an extraordinary example of a public figure. Weverse was down for several hours due to a traffic explosion. HYB even released an official statement that Jungkook will be given the space and time as he wishes, and that they fully support the artist's mental healing process. A few days later, Jimin appeared on Weverse with a short message. I was here. Always. For him. For all of you. That's a sentence that may be only 10 words, but it contains the world. The world that Jungkook has been carrying alone is now divided with those who love him for who he is, and since that night, the world of K-pop has changed. Fans began to be more sensitive to the pressure that their idol was experiencing. Talking about mental health is no longer taboo. And Jungkook, who has been known as the Golden Magne, it is now also known as the bravest figure because it chooses to be honest, even if it means looking fragile. A few days after the shocking live broadcast, the atmosphere in the ARMY community was still not calm. Not because of the controversy, but because of the deep emotion and love that filled the hearts of everyone who witnessed Jungkook's transformation firsthand, from the figure of a global star that shines impeccably to a fragile yet strong person who stood honestly before everyone, without a mask, without a script, and without censorship. On social media, hashtags like WeHearUJK and Jungkook Our Safe Place still continue to resonate. Many fans from different countries began to share their own stories about how they all this time hid feelings of illness or loneliness, and how Jungkook's bravery made them feel less alone. Interestingly, many other K-pop idols also secretly liked the post or embedded a heart emoji under the clip from the live broadcast, as if to say that they also understand, and they have felt the same. Sometime later, Jimin was seen at the airport. He was wearing a black hat and a mask, but his eyes couldn't lie. They were serious and gentle. One of the fan sites managed to capture the moment when he looked down at the camera and conveyed something with almost inaudible lips: "We take care of him." The phrase then made headlines in many Korean media. Jimin, Jungkook's closest friend since adolescence, is known as a very protective but gentle figure. And this time, he stood not as an idol, but as a friend, who are ready to hold the load together. That same night, Weverse was shocked by Jungkook's own post. Not a video, not a long message. Just a photo, an empty night sky, with one of the brightest stars in the center. The caption is just one word: "Still." That's enough. No need to explain further. For those who love him, one word is like a gentle whisper that he is still here. Still holding on. Still want to walk. And still need us. Several well-known music producers and broadcasters began voicing open support for Jungkook. Even one of the CEOs of music labels in the US wrote in X, "I've never seen an artist as big as him open his heart like that." The world doesn't need more stars. The world needs more Jungkook. A week later, something surprising happened. HYB announced the release of a short documentary video titled "Still," a story of Jungkook, which will feature behind-the-scenes footage of Jungkook's latest song recording process, an exclusive interview, as well as reflective moments about mental health, loss of direction, and the search for meaning behind popularity. The trailer is only 60 seconds long, with Jungkook's voice as the narrator. "Sometimes I want to stop, but I realize stopping talking doesn't mean it's gone. Maybe I just need to learn to talk in a new way. It's me, still here." The army was crying. No fast music, no flashy lighting. Only the voice of the heart that had been whispering was finally heard. The tearful live broadcast, it turned out, was not the end. But it is precisely the beginning of a new journey for Jungkook. No longer just the golden magne, except a man full of light who chooses to walk in an honest path without hypocrisy. And perhaps, honesty is the most beautiful stage he has ever stepped on. There was no spotlight, no fan chant, but all the hearts in the world cheered with him. Jungkook has changed the way we look at the stars. He is not just an idol who shines on the stage, but a man who dares to speak out in the dark. In the silence of the night, he uncovers wounds invisible to the camera's glare. But it is precisely from there that the purest rays emanate. Live that night wasn't just about an idol confiding in front of the camera. It's about a young man who fights fear and loneliness with honesty. Jungkook may not be conscious, but by opening his heart that night, he has saved thousands, even millions of people who are also struggling in silence. From the glittering stage to the dark space behind the scenes, that night Jungkook didn't just sing songs. He voiced wounds, hope, and courage. And for ARMY, that moment will always be remembered not because he cried, but because he finally allowed himself to be loved, not as an idol, but as a human being.